Welcome back, everyone, to And Then the Bell Rang. We're back after a little bit of hiatus, and joining me as every episode, is my co-host Lex Lloydy. How are you this week, Lex?
Still under contract.
Still under contract? Yes, yes. You thought
Yeah.
you'd done a Lex Luger and gone to WCW, but I pulled you back in at the
Yeah.
last minute. You thought you could escape, and I was
Or,
like, no,
or, so- or
it's
so you thought. Or so you thought.
That's true. Yeah, yeah, that's true. Because you dropped the. We decided to cover one of the worst pay per views that I remember watching in the history. And I mean, we covered WrestleMania 11, and we hated that pay per view. Um, but even that can't compare to what this was. So,
You say that. You say we hated it, but I honestly looked back on that and I thought we really thought about that quite hard and tried to sort of analyze a lot of the peripheral stuff that was going on, which I don't think I don't really hear talked about that much. And
no,
um, I could understand the problems from a sort of deeper perspective, I think, having watched it back, and well, it was actually quite a good thing to watch back. I don't regret watching that one. I know you weren't that keen. I mean, I wasn't that keen either, really, because
no.
it's not one.
Well, it
There are
made
no
you
real
angry.
great. Well,
You
was I
said you
angry?
listened back and you were angry. You were like, I can't believe I said half the stuff I said after listening back. I was like, wow, it was all fair. It's what you were saying. So,
Well, I'm gonna have to say, I'm gonna have to do a Donald Trump and say, did I say that? Did I
yeah,
really say that? I can't
you
believe I
did.
said that. Next question.
Oh, God. He's going Trump on us as he was going to gaslight us into saying he didn't hate the pay per view. Nice. Nice.
It's all
Have
about
you,
me. It's not about you.
have you seen the Hulk Hogan documentary series on Netflix yet?
No, I only just half an hour ago
No, it
spotted
was
that it was
there.
on there.
Yes, yeah. I've finished watching it this afternoon. Well, this evening when I got home. And yeah, it's definitely worth a watch. Um,
So, well,
yeah,
you heard of it.
yeah. Well, I mean, you know, I know how much you feel and how much you struggle with his passing, and it's like this was like done like a year before his passing, or it started like a year before his passing,
There's a
and they were going
couple
to
on
do,
there I saw. There was one that was
yeah,
talking about his legal battles,
yeah.
which doesn't particularly interest me. I'd rather not go back.
That's the last episode.
Yeah. Well,
The
uh,
first three episodes I think you'll enjoy because it's mostly about his early career, his WWF career, and then his WCW career and his films and that. Chris Lloyd is in there talking about
is it?
Suburban Commando. I
Oh,
thought
great.
that was
Oh, I
great.
must. I will check it out. I will check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, the fourth one's a bit of a tough watch. The fourth episode, especially obviously after with his passing and that. So, but it is definitely worth watching. Um, yeah, he's quite honest in some of his takes, and they even got Bret Hart on there. They've got Jesse
Yeah.
Ventura on there.
Well, I heard about some stuff that the Hitman said, which, if it's true, then yeah.
But looking at it,
Ah,
I think it's true about the time. I mean, he was basically talking about WrestleMania 9 and stuff that happened during the day, and
yeah,
Hulk
I know.
basically
I
says,
know.
"Oh, if I did that, it wasn't intentional. Probably I was over
Yeah,
drugged up or
I've
drinking."
seen
It's
some
like,
stuff. We've seen
yeah,
some stuff on social media about it. Yeah, I get that. I mean, if it's an accurate quote, then yeah. I mean, I don't disagree with Brett. I don't know. I just think some of these things. There's only so many times you can say it before it.
and to be
It's
fair,
just it doesn't go anywhere.
Jesse Ventura was quite nice about him. He didn't mention anything about the union that Hulk basically stopped happening, and he was quite complimentary to Hulk. So it
Well, the
was,
thing
yeah,
with Jesse Ventura, I mean, I would say this about him: that he had he not moved on and created a better career for himself,
yeah,
um, then he might not have been in a position to be so magnanimous and charitable in some of
mm,
his views. You know, if he had retired from wrestling, you know, having
that was all he
achieved not
did.
that much, and I mean,
Yeah,
if yeah, I mean, he went on to become something bigger than he was.
Yes, yeah,
So he can afford to take you know, a less kind of hostile view.
that's true. Yeah. So, but yeah, it's definitely worth a watch. But anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about. This episode, we're talking about the 1995 King of the Ring, which, yes, came from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So there was a bit of a Rocky theme to it. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Philadelphia, the
Yeah.
Spectrum, the
Yes,
Spectrum,
yes,
where
it was.
SummerSlam 19 was held.
Yeah, yes, yes. Which was why everyone was like, "Oh, it's going to be a great pay per view," because SummerSlam '90 was great, so King of the Ring '95 is going to live up to it. I mean, the attendance
Uh,
was
no,
15,000.
no, I don't think
No,
anyone was saying that or
no, I
thinking that
know,
in
I
1995.
know, no. 95 wrestling so far removed from what it was in 1990. So,
I mean, the
um,
fact that they had to mention Rocky Balboa once or twice in the broadcast as well. I mean, I don't think that's I don't think that's great.
no. I mean,
That you've got to try and draw on that.
what did you make of the pairing of Vince McMahon and Doc Hendricks as commentators? I mean, I quite
Um,
like Doc
this
Hendricks
is
as a
early days. This is quite
yeah.
early days, Doc Hendricks. He's a very strange one because he's
Doc
only doing
Hendricks, for anyone who
commentary.
doesn't know, is Michael P.S. Hayes from the Freebirds in the NWA slash WCW. Sorry, carry on.
Yeah, well, he's a very strange character. I always liked him from the start. Um,
Yeah,
there's an unspoken shift that happens with Doc Hendricks. Um, maybe within a couple of months of this, maybe around SummerSlam or so. He's brought in there clearly to be a heel commentator,
yeah,
which he is, but he just very gradually changes, and it doesn't happen overnight. Over a period of time, he's more into the matches, and he just becomes more of a super fan, and and then they take him out of the commentary altogether, and he's a host. He hosts. He's on Action Zone. He's on um, Live Wire when that starts off the following year, and he's around for a little while. I always liked him. I think there's a particular point I can't remember exactly in this broadcast where um, they they look at Vince, his face. He's looking at this guy, and I'm not quite sure what's going through his mind, but there's a really weird look that Vince gives him on the headset.
right,
Um, it's hard to describe it, but all kinds of possibilities are going through Vince's head here. I think if you look at his face,
right.
and I mean all kinds. Um,
Yes.
I'm not
Like,
sure if he wants to.
what have I got myself into here?
There's that. There's that. I'm not sure if he wants to fire him, if he wants to fuck him, if he wants to do what I don't know. I don't know what he
Wow.
wants to do. There's a really weird look. I've no idea. I've
No.
absolutely no idea. But he's clearly kind of taken back by him and his personality and his style, and he's trying to figure him out. Um,
Yes.
I think Vince has a great night on headset. If I'm honest, he's a little bit lame.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
Agree with that.
Doc's good though. I mean, he gets
He's better than
he
Vince
gets
in my
involved.
opinion.
He gets
Yeah.
involved a little bit. He's a good general kind of heel commentator.
Yeah.
I don't really have bad things to say about him other than perhaps it's not a criticism at all. It's just finding the right place for him. But
Yeah.
I don't think his natural best position was a heel commentator or a commentator in general.
No.
Um, he was pretty solid. He's decent. I mean, if you said to me, um, compare him to say Kevin Kelly, I'd probably say I'd go Doc Hendricks just because he's got more personality.
Yeah.
Um, but even then, yeah, Kevin Kelly was a play-by-play guy, so different dynamic again, really. But
Yeah.
um, I did like him at the time. I thought he was a breath of fresh air, and he was good. We were seeing less of Gorilla Monsoon because he was not quite the interim president yet. I think that came sometime before SummerSlam.
Yeah. Yeah, Jack
going
Tunney
about.
was still technically the president,
Just
wasn't he?
about, yeah, just about,
So
but not for
it
long.
wasn't. No,
I think it might have been vacated for a brief time, that
yeah,
presidency, and then suddenly it just fell to Gorilla. So there's definitely a transition happening in commentary. And, yeah, Jim Ross is back on the scene in '95 as well, and
yeah,
he'd been away for almost a year.
yeah. He was. I don't think Vince trusted him or wanted him on commentary. I think it wasn't until later in '95. I think he's only house free, but I don't know.
Yeah, he is, and after that,
He
well,
comes back on there more.
he's on there almost every pay-per-view. I want to say after
Yeah,
that, he does become mainstream, and it's good that he
yeah,
was, because he was just so great.
yeah,
JR.
absolutely. So, but yeah, I mean, I think at this point, I don't think Vince wanted. I mean, Jim Ross would have made this pay per view slightly better had he been on commentary with them. Um, Jerry Lawler
I think,
obviously wasn't on
yeah.
commentary because he had a match. We all know about that. But yeah, so
Well,
again,
he couldn't have saved it. He couldn't have saved it.
no, no. So, I mean, yeah, this is probably the second stinker of the year. I mean, I know we were talking about it before we went on to record this about WrestleMania 11, and yeah, I know I rewatched it and I thought some of the matches were pretty good, um, but I know it wasn't the best. And like you pointed out, that they weren't trying to speak to the wrestling fans; they were trying to speak to NFL fans and fans who had never seen wrestling before. They were trying to lure them in, and that was the wrong thing to do, I think, with WrestleMania 11. And this show, this was like a follow up of WrestleMania 11, but they reverted back to talking to us, the fans. But the card itself, in my opinion, wasn't great. The main event wasn't great. Who won the King of the Ring wasn't great, and I mean, I think the only great match on here, maybe two great matches. Shawn Michaels against Karma wasn't bad, but obviously Bret Hart against Jerry Lawler was a good match and great outcome. But the rest of it was just like, oh, really? What are we doing
Well,
here?
we'll get to all that. We'll get to all that. I think that there are some bright spots in this, and there's a lot of potential. Um,
Wow.
I'll get into it as we go, really. But I will say I thought it was a really good crowd,
Yeah,
having
the
watched
crowd
it
was
back.
great. Yeah. The crowd. I can't fault the crowd. I mean,
The
they
big
paid their
crowd, it's a
hard-earned
pretty
money, and yeah,
decent
yeah.
sized crowd as well.
16,000. Let's have a look at the total. Was 16,590 people there, which wasn't in '95 that was a good pay per view attendance. So
It's pretty solid.
yeah,
Famous old venue as well.
yeah,
Um, I think in terms of what we'd seen before, so we've seen two pay-per-views of King of the Ring up to this point, and
yeah,
they both had very carefully orchestrated qualification rounds, and the card, the last eight
yeah,
were of a certain standard, and I'm not sure that standard is really achieved this time round. And I think there's a couple of really big absences from the pay-per-view that would have helped it. I think Owen Hart not being on the card really hurts the
yeah.
card. I think that there weren't that many solid technical wrestlers on the card tonight,
No,
that night rather. And
no. I mean,
you know,
'95 wasn't a great roster. I mean, we talked about that in the Royal Rumble '95 episode, where I think of three people out of 30 wrestlers in the Royal Rumble were proper legit stars, and the rest of them were just like
yeah,
mid
sure.
carders and jobbers
I
and
suppose
old guys.
I don't agree. I don't agree that they didn't have enough strength and depth to improve what they had, though. I mean, Lex Luger should have been in there. Owen Hart should have been in there.
Yeah,
They're two,
on the in
you know,
King of the Ring. Yeah, definitely. Lex should not have lost to Yokozuna by count out. Razor was
in
going
the
to be in it, but
qualification.
yeah,
Yeah, I know. And kids out as well, injured, and we'll get to all that. But we do see the introduction of Scrappy Doo.
yes. Oh dear. I mean, so the
He's actually
tournament,
the real story. If I had to pick one standout as a story, for me, it's Sabio Vega that night. I just think
yeah, They
probably
pushed him
didn't
and then they
intend
squashed him
to,
at the
but they
end.
did push him.
Yeah.
I don't think they intended to push him, and that the fact that he won 3 matches, um,
My thing here
you
though
know,
is like,
it's insane.
yeah, yeah. But would Razor, had he not have been injured, would Razor have been in that spot where he was in the spot with Mabel in the end and lost to Mabel, or would they have done and said, "Well, we're going to give it to Razor," or would they have stuck with Mabel had Razor not been injured? That's always a question that no, I don't think anyone's ever asked that question to anyone.
They would
To be
never have
honest,
given. They would never have let Razor win it.
really? Huh?
No, not a chance in hell.
Huh.
Um, and
Why did they
no,
let Mabel win
it's a
it?
no-brainer. No, it's a no-brainer.
Really?
It's a no-brainer. Well, think about it. That's a really easy one because look at his whole year. Other than winning the title back in October, he basically jobs for the whole year. He has a
True.
terrible year, and he's right
Yeah.
in the middle of that. There's no indication that he was ever going to be given a break. And even if he wins King of the Ring, what are you going to do with Razor then? You're going to let him face Diesel at SummerSlam, or are you going to build him for next year's WrestleMania? No way. They were never going to do that then. Um, there's just no way they would have ever given it to him. I honestly think there's a real genuine case for letting Shawn Michaels win King of the Ring that year. Um, that being
Well,
said, that being said, well, I mean, ultimately they were going to build him, and he was going to be the next big deal. I can understand why they didn't do it because it was still a little bit early. Um,
I think if he'd been a heel still, they may have let him win it. But I think because they turned him babyface, it's like, well, we can't, like you just said with Razor, we can't have Shawn against Diesel at SummerSlam. Two
not at
babyface.
SummerSlam, not at SummerSlam, but ultimately to win that tournament, if not facing the champion at SummerSlam, it could be that their time comes at the next year's WrestleMania if they're built properly, because that happened to Brett. In
Yeah,
'93, wins it, and he becomes champion in '94 against Yokozuna at WrestleMania 10. So there's no reason.
that's
I mean,
true.
ultimately, this is what happened. Shawn won the title the following year at WrestleMania, so um, it could have
I mean,
helped him along the way. But they actually demote him. They demote Shawn.
but
Um,
your point there as well is like they gave the King of the Ring to Owen in '94, gave him the title match in '94 SummerSlam, and had him lose to Brett. And it's like, what has that really done for Owen's
he's a
career?
heel. Well, he's a
Yeah,
heel.
no, I know he's a hit. I know that, but I mean, it's pretty similar.
Well, I
Um,
think if you're going to build a heel to face the champion, you need to give him some more clout and threat, which winning
true.
King of the Ring does because they elevate their status, their stock rises. Um, so if it's a heel villain at this particular time, I think it's purely just to build them for a big headline main event, probably at SummerSlam. And that
Yeah,
happens 2 years in a row at this point. It's Owen in
yeah,
'94 and Mabel in '95. Um,
yeah,
if it's babyface, I think it's a big feather in their cap, and it could, without having any obligation, it could help them ultimately somewhere down the line become champion because they've established some pedigree. But Sean's demoted in '95 in theory because he's still got to play second fiddle to Diesel.
yeah.
And he does become IC champion, and he liberates the whole wrestling world from Jeff Jarrett. Um,
Yes, yeah,
we've already covered it. It's the following month from this night, but
yeah,
um, in theory, from being main event at WrestleMania, Shawn Michaels has taken a step back to become IC champion again, albeit historic 3 times.
yeah.
At that time, that had not been done. I want to say
No,
him and
no, he
Razor
was the
did it
first
that
one.
year.
Yeah, yeah. He was the first one who did it. Sean
There
was.
is a case. There is a case. I mean, it just depends. I think they were. I think they were gap filling. They were just trying to convolute whatever bullshit they could come up with just to keep Diesel busy in his
Oh
fairly
yeah, they needed a
drab
monster heel. Yeah.
reign. Yeah, they did because Yoko's too big at this point, and he just can't do that anymore.
Well, I mean,
Unfortunately,
Mabel's almost the same sort of size as Yoko. I know
he's
Yoko's
about
slightly bigger, but not by a lot. Not by a lot. Mabel's big.
within 100 pounds.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is the event where Mabel like breaks the Undertaker's orbital bone as well by sitting on him, like, giving him his leg drop. I
No,
think
that's on Raw. That's
is that later on. All right,
yeah,
Christ.
that's around about October time. Um,
Uh,
and he does legitimately injure him.
yeah,
Um, although he does drop the leg on him
he
in
does,
the
and it looks
match,
like
which
he's
was
crushed his face, which is like Christ. But yeah, I mean, do we want to go through the qualifying rounds as to how they got to the qualifying for the King of the Ring, or do we just want to
not
move
not
on to
really.
the
I don't
Open?
think. No, I don't think
But
so. It's about this night, isn't this pay-per-view? I think what I would say though about the last day, I think there's couple of people on there that I didn't think were worthy. I
yeah,
genuinely didn't think they deserved to be there in terms of their pedigree.
yeah,
Um, yeah, I'd say Bob Holly, who I'm
yeah,
going to say this, in previous years he just didn't qualify.
no,
So
no,
it's great that he does, and in
yeah,
fairness to him, I actually
yeah,
thought he was one of the people that did perform. In
yeah.
terms of the wrestling, I thought his technical wrestling was very good in his match. And
Although they screw him out the finish.
yeah, we'll come
Oh,
to that. We'll come to that. But
dear.
the other one, I thought, the roadie at this time,
Had
he's
no
not even a
business in
wrestler.
there.
He's
No,
just a guy wearing
flunky,
strange clothes with a funny
dreadlocks.
hairdo, and yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. And I just
yeah,
thought, get out of the ring. Someone knock him out.
yes,
Get out. It
yes,
doesn't belong in the ring. So I had problems with the actual card. Um,
yeah,
the contenders, I thought some of them just didn't deserve to be there. I really didn't think they did.
no,
Although I don't begrudge that from Bob Holly because obviously he went on to become a much more successful talent down the
yes,
line. But
yeah.
at that time, you must admit, I mean, he doesn't even qualify in '94.
No, no. He was a mid carder. But they kind of gave him a push in '95. They gave him and the kid the tag titles at the Royal Rumble for a day.
Is that
Um,
yeah, a day? Is that a push? I don't think that's really much of a push.
well,
That's a
it's
push
the
over the cliff. It's a push
yeah.
over the cliff, is what that is.
Here's your tag titles, guys. Oh, great! You're going to lose them the next night to the Smoking Guns. Oh, okay,
Yeah. Is
fair
that? I
enough.
think that's what they call paying lip service.
Yeah, yes. I mean, the kid had the tag titles with Mike Jannetty in like '93, and they held on to it for a week. So that's like 6 more days than Bob and the kid did. But anyway,
Kid was Sean Waltman. Kid, he was an unbelievable wrestler, incredible talent, great, very
yes,
good, martial arts and
yeah,
technical, and he could high fly. He had so much going for him. He really did. It's a
absolutely,
real shame that he's out. He's not on the card. Yeah, the card suffers without him there and with Owen there and Razor and I'm going to say Lex.
yeah.
Not that I thought Lex was the greatest worker in the world at that time.
He had
Um,
star power. He had
yeah, he
appeal.
did, and I think when you've got the star power and you've got a good fuse, it adds fuel to the fire. And I just think the lineup just wasn't very good.
No,
It's like seeing your team sheet, you know, 20, 30 minutes before the match, and you're just playing square pegs in round holes, and you just think, oh Christ,
yes,
how's
yes,
this going to go?
yes, yeah,
And you're like,
yeah.
the formation's wrong, the players are in the wrong positions, the
Yes,
tactics are all over the place. The shape is disjointed. It's just that was
not good.
I thought in terms of the booking side of it. I don't think it's great. A very interesting addition to this. We've got the Undertaker in a tournament this year, and there's something
Yeah,
I found it slightly strange. Actually, that he would be in a King of the Ring tournament. There's no reason why he can't be, and certainly he deserves to be there on reputation and merit and all the rest.
yeah,
But he doesn't. There's something a little bit almost too sportsmanlike or too formal about being in a tournament for him. He just doesn't
yeah.
strike me as that kind of guy, if you know what I mean.
That's
Um,
it's true. I mean, his character wouldn't have been in the tournament in years previous, in my opinion. But
no,
I mean, but
no,
in '95, the Undertaker was one of the biggest big names in the
I,
WWF. So,
I'm not denying that. As I said, I've preempted that with you know, obvious compliments. Um,
in my opinion, you
it's
could
just a
have
bit
done.
odd. It's
You
a
could
bit
have had
odd.
the Undertaker win the King of the Ring and have him take on in turn Diesel heel at SummerSlam '95.
Yeah, but
But
why would they do that when he can just go through the corporation for the rest of the
oh
year and just
wow,
fucking waste it?
yeah, let him suffer. He's already He's already had to go against bloody King Kong Bundy at
And
WrestleMania, and now
Vince doesn't like babyface versus babyface at this time. We know
well,
that.
that's why I say you turn Diesel heel, you have him turn against the Undertaker.
Yeah,
You
but it's
know,
too early.
they did the
He's right in the middle of his corporate experiment, isn't he? He's trying to push him as this kind of wholesome
well, his corporate experiment
pukester.
failed. So yeah, yeah. Oh god. Well, I mean, they did the free for all, didn't they? And they had because Razor was injured, they had Savio Vega as Razor's replacement take on Erwin R. Shyster
Let's talk
in a
about that.
qualifying match.
Let's talk about
And
it briefly. I think we kind of have to
yeah,
because it's
yeah,
important for the story.
they show it as the
Um,
pay per view comes on because they're trying to explain why Savio's music is playing.
well,
Um,
I remember watching it live, and
yes,
his music was not playing, but they did literally
no,
say right away,
Yoko
it
was
just
coming to the
happened
ring.
minutes ago.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it happened minutes ago. Savio Vega just defeated IRS, and I think did they show a video clip of it on the pay per view when you watched it live? I'm pretty sure they
Yeah,
did.
his finish move, his unofficial finish
Yeah.
move, is spinning heel kick and pins
Yes.
IRS. Um, I mean, there's something just completely unfair about that whole situation as well. Everybody else qualified before that night, so
Yeah.
everyone else has
Weeks
got to
before.
wrestle three times. He has to wrestle four if he's to win
Yes.
it.
Yes. No, this
Which
is this is
inherently it's wrong, So
it
he's
is.
starting out from a really bad kind of position.
But for me, hear me out. They could have gone WrestleMania 4 tournament and gone Randy Savage with Savio and said have him wrestle 4 matches and somehow pull out the victory at the end like Savage did against Ted DiBiase. But hey, no, they went with Big Mabel. You know, whatever, Vince. But anyway,
I can get over the fact that Savio loses. What I thought was unforgivable was that he's not actually on the next two pay-per-views as a
no,
competitor. He's Lumberjack in Your House 2. He's not at SummerSlam.
no,
He wrestles at In Your House 3.
yes, yes, yeah,
You don't give someone, whether you intended to do it or not, you don't give someone a big push like that because he got, make no mistake about it, they gave him a very, very big push. He beat three guys in
yeah,
one night.
yes.
So he's really the uncrowned king in a lot of
He
ways because
is.
because
Yeah,
he would have taken IRS if he'd faced him days earlier. He would have done at that time.
yeah, yeah,
Um, so you don't just do that and throw him in the garbage. I mean, uh, yeah, that's ridiculous. I mean, I don't think he understood. I don't think Vince understood the psychology of his own fans. I mean, clearly from everything we said about the WrestleMania 11 broadcast, and there's one or two tendencies, shall we say, that continue on even in this pay per view, which we'll get to.
hmm,
But still sort of kind of afterthoughts from WrestleMania. But
yeah,
um, I mean, he comes in Your House 1, which we covered last year, I think,
yeah,
and
yeah.
he's
House Fraser.
Krang. We
Yeah,
don't get
he's
formal
Quang in
acknowledgement of that.
'94. Yeah, no, no, no.
Yeah, but he comes in and it's kind of shoot because he comes in out of the crowd and we're led to believe, and for a very brief time I think I kind of bought into it that he was
Yeah,
just someone who came out of the crowd, and then all of a sudden no, he's Razor's best mate, and it's like, okay,
yes.
Razor's injured, kid's injured, um let's just bring in cousin Scampy or Scrappy Doo. Let's bring in somebody
Yes,
just to spice things up a little bit. And to be fair, Savio Vega, he's got so much energy and it's kind of Latin American, um,
yeah,
almost like Spice Boy almost. He's got a little bit of style and a bit of panache, and you get the impression he can probably burn up the dance floor as well, I'd imagine. And he's just got so much positivity and energy, and he's good. He's not
yeah,
a good, I wouldn't say he's a particularly great technical wrestler, but he's got some moves and he's got
yeah,
some endurance, and I think he was a pretty damn solid worker. I never um I never had too many bad things to say about him. I think he probably would only ever go so far, but um
yeah.
this is arguably his greatest night in WWE.
I would have said so. Yeah.
But he didn't get any acknowledgement for it whatsoever.
No.
Um and I just think that's such stupidity. The guy beats three guys in one night. He should be king. and that's a way to protect him.
Yeah.
You know, you can say, okay, so he loses clean to Mabel in the final. And I'm giving some of these
That's all right.
results away, but who gives a shit, really? Let's
Yeah.
face it. We're only talking
Yes.
about the 95 King of the Ring. We don't want to be
Yes.
too precious.
No.
Um, it's a good way. It's a clever way to protect him in some ways, but you can only validate that by um, acknowledging what he's done and not diminishing him thereafter, which is exactly what they do. They just completely forget about him.
Yeah.
And I just think now it makes absolutely no sense. The crowd were massively into him and they were rooting for him the whole time.
Yeah.
He
No,
gets he,
100%.
he's really over,
Yes,
because
he
there's
was.
almost there's a certain underdog tone to it, but also um, it's almost like the Cinderella story type thing again,
Yeah.
um, which was, I think they phrased that in the tag title match at the Royal Rumble that year, didn't they?
Yeah.
I mean, he's not. It's clever again because for each one of his opponents, he's not like a massive underdog because he's still a relative unknown at this point. Don't
Yeah.
forget,
Yeah.
but the fact that he's wrestling so much more, taking so much more punishment, does make him an underdog naturally because he's physically under a lot more duress than a lot of his opponents, um,
Yeah.
who have, Mabel wrestles twice, thank God.
Yes.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
twice too many.
Yeah.
Once is too many. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's actually very clever the way they build him up the whole night, and you
Yeah.
cannot help but root for him. If you watch the whole thing, you just can't help it. You can't help but root for the guy. Do you want to just jump into the matches?
Yeah. Yeah. So the first match is Yokozuna coming out to face Savio Vega, which is why they just explained that Savio is just qualified due to
Yeah,
Rage's
no
injury.
rest, no
No
rest.
rest. No. Well, kind of maybe like a 10-minute rest between the free for all
Well,
finishing and the pay per view
probably
starting.
five,
But yeah, all
less,
right, yeah,
less,
5 minutes.
probably barely, no real rest.
Yeah,
So
they
that's
do an
amazing.
interview with Savio. Todd Penningham interviews him, I believe, right before he comes out and saying how happy he is to have qualified, and that he's going to do his best to win the King of the Ring. It is bad English. So,
Yeah, and Doc Hendricks doesn't let him off all night. There's a
no.
classic later on as well. We'll get to that,
Yes.
but
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
um,
Yes.
Christ, well, he does a couple cheeky ones actually. Doc
Oh
does, but
yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, this is I don't mind Yoko being in the tournament particularly because I think he's yeah, he's a big name still, and
Yeah.
he's either, if he ever got to the final, he'd get a bye.
Yes.
So it's one of those
Like
things.
Mabel
And
did.
if
Yeah.
if you want to be predictable about it, you can almost say if it's a big guy and he wins his first match and he's in a semi-final, you know that he's not going to be in a semi-final. He's going to go straight to the final just because
Yeah.
that's how it was, and that's just the way
Yeah.
it's going to be. But well, one thing I'd say about Bam Bam, he probably could have handled three matches. It wouldn't have been easy, and I don't know if he would. Well, he wouldn't have been maybe as good in the last match, but he's someone that I think actually could have handled the semi-final. But probably
Bam Bam.
rightly they
Yeah.
gave him a bye.
A buy. Yeah. It's, yeah. Give
Yeah.
him extra
So
rest.
so this match with Yoko, it's really really hard fought, and it's a classic, almost David Goliath type situation. Yeah, Yoko gets a lot of big beat downs and moves, yeah, leg drops, um, and Savio gets some really good kind of quick, decisive kind of martial arts spin kicks, and Yoko's really reeling at certain points. It's a war of attrition. You can see they're both really knackering each other out,
Yeah.
um, the longer it goes on, and it's actually a pretty damn solid opening match. I enjoyed it watching it back because it was actually a very good contest.
Yeah.
Or the way I thought it turned out as well. I mean, the way it ultimately ends up, there's some brawling on the outside. Sort of Yoko, I think he charges Savio, he gets out of the way, and Yoko kind of runs himself into the ring
Yeah.
post, and not virtually knocks himself out, and Savio gets back in the ring just in the nick of time and he wins by count out. So he's got a decision, he wins, which is great.
Yeah,
Um, it does make you wonder, if the match had continued, would he have had enough to actually beat Yoko? And it's kind of left slightly in the balance a little bit.
yeah,
Because he hasn't beaten Yoko clean, but at the same time he's taken most of his best shots and he's still standing and he's got a decision. And Yoko's just gassed himself and um, almost talked himself out of going through at this
yeah,
point. But it's a really rock solid match, and I think the crowd appreciated Savio. And he's been out and he's won 2 matches within half an hour.
yeah, yeah.
And
Which is
that is
very
really
good.
impressive. So straight away,
Yes,
you're almost caught up in this whirlwind from the instant you switch on um, Sky Sports in our case, the UK, watching it live. In no time, we've got this. This guy's come out of nowhere and he's won 2 matches in half an hour. And you're thinking, Jesus,
yeah.
that's
He's the under.
really impressive. No one's done that.
No, no. They've never had someone debut on their debut pay-per-view win 2 matches in a row ever. I don't think
But the other thing is, as well, is it's kind of an arduous journey for him as well. I mean, the fact that he doesn't pin Yoko, and he gets a count out. I kind of don't mind that because he's beat IRS and he's
it's a
just
good way of
you're
it's
thinking
a good way
you're
of
thinking
going through.
isn't that justice? Isn't that justice anyway?
Yeah,
Because he's been
yeah.
screwed over. Shouldn't have wrestled IRS at all
On the same
that
night,
night.
no.
So you kind of think like, well, do you know what? Yeah, that's
Fair
okay.
play.
And
Yeah,
he's done well. He's done well to
yeah.
beat Yoko. And you think, well, Yoko can have no complaints either. Um,
Exactly.
Not good enough on the night.
No,
Couldn't
no.
keep him down. So I
Yes,
was really impressed. At the time, I can remember being really impressed, and throughout the whole broadcast, I can just remember thinking, "Oh, this is great. I really hope he wins this."
yes, yeah,
If you like, none of if you like my guys, my top guys, were really in the tournament. Um,
yeah.
so Razor wasn't in it. Um,
Brett wasn't in
Brett,
it.
obviously, Brett's not in it. That could have been another thing they could have done for Brett. That's another shout. Let Brett win it, but instead they
Yeah,
give him
had
this
him back.
bullshit Jerry Lawler feud, which we'll go through. But um,
Which was it was entertaining at the time. It was probably one of the most entertaining parts of the WWF in '95, in my opinion. The King was always an arsehole to Brett, and Brett always wanted to, you know, give him his
I'll get to
cover.
that. Let's get to that later. We'll get to all that later
But
because you
the,
are right. It was. I'll say this for it. It was probably the most heavily promoted of all of the matches, including the main
exactly,
event. They
it was
they
more. It
pushed
was
it
more
much
so heavily
heavier.
promoted. Yes, yeah, yeah. The main event didn't mean anything. I don't think so.
Another thing, subtle. This year they've got the King of the Ring tournament, but they've only got 2 singles matches. So
Yes,
sorry, they've got the tag match main event, and they've got the Jerry Lawler Bret Hart Kiss My Foot match. No other matches. Whereas previous King of the Rings, there'd always be
3 or 4.
three
Yeah,
non-tournament matches, so one less.
yeah.
Um, and again, there's a couple of guys sitting on the bench, and I think I not Razor and Kid, but Owen. I obviously can't remember
Bulldog
why.
was there as well. Bulldog and
Yeah,
Owen had
true.
a Bulldog and Owen wrestled to a 15-minute qualifying draw, which meant they had to have like Lex Luger and Yoko have a match.
I mean,
So
why couldn't you have had those two
go through,
actually go well, just be in the tournament and
yeah, instead of the
replace
roadie, and
replace Rhodey and Bob Holly. I have to say that.
yeah, yeah. I mean,
But
I've seen
again,
a lot of reviews about it,
it's a
and it's
strange
like,
team sheet, very
yeah,
odd
they had
team sheet that night.
Vince used a lot of like C+ players in this tournament, and where they had A+ players randomly eliminated from the tournament, which made no sense at all.
Yeah, I mean
But
they wonder why they're struggling so much at this time,
yeah,
But um, I don't think they spent very much time engaging with real fans around about that time because it was a fairly they were just sleepwalking throughout most of the card. Yeah, 95 is a pretty barren year,
Yes.
with
Yeah.
a handful of very, very notable exceptions.
Yeah.
Not all of which we've looked at from 95 yet, but yeah, some of it is fairly inexcusable, really, to kind of stupidity. But there you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
just where it was. That's where it was in 95.
Wrestling business was struggling. Even WCW was struggling at this time as well in '95. So they had some terrible feuds and some terrible storylines right up until Nitro started, I think. But even then, those terrible storylines continued. So, yeah. So we'll move on to the next match, which was your formed Rhodey against Bob Holly match. Um, and like, yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, again, I don't agree that. I mean, the Rhodey being in this tournament. I mean, Bob Holly, like you said, had earned it. The match was okay, but I still think that like, the finish was really screwed up.
Well,
I was
before we
just
get
like,
to that, well, hang on.
oh,
Um, I will say this for Bob Holly. I actually think he went out of his way to have the best possible match he could. I think he
yeah,
worked
yeah, yeah.
really,
He
really
carried the
hard,
match. Yeah,
and
yeah,
his technical wrestling. I have to say, I was very impressed with him in this match,
yeah,
and I enjoyed watching it back. The fact that he can't beat the roadie, it's well, first of all, it's a massive, massive defeat for Bob Holly
yes,
to not be able to beat this fucking guy. Um,
yeah,
who
yeah.
at
Who
this time,
nobody really knew who he
I'm saying
was.
that, no, who the fuck was this guy?
Yeah,
And he didn't look like a wrestler. He didn't act like a wrestler, although he had some slightly bizarre, quite dangerous looking moves when he felt like it.
yeah, yeah,
It
yeah,
surprise you. It could surprise you around about this time. I remember when he gives the one, two, three kid a pile driver off the second
yeah.
turnbuckle in your house too, and he beats him with it. I can remember thinking at the time, "Holy fucking shit!
Yes,
How
yeah,
dangerous is that?" It's terrifying just to look at it. I couldn't hardly watch it back when we reviewed it, whenever that was.
yeah.
But yeah, do that. Even at this time, he would throw a you know surprise or two out there, the
He
roadie.
would.
But yeah, you were alluding to it before. The finish is, I'm not sure if it's just a genuine screw up, or I don't know if it was timing or the ref got this wrong or who got what wrong, but Bob Holly
Yeah,
clearly kicks out. He
yeah,
gets his shoulder up before three, and it's very clear. And actually,
yeah.
Vince, I think there's some hesitation and confusion from the commentary at the time
Yeah,
as well.
Vince is like, did he get him? Did he get him? And
Yeah,
Doc Hendricks there going,
it
he got
felt
him.
like a
He
botch.
got him. It's like, no, he didn't. He kicked
Yeah,
out. I
it
don't
felt
think
like a
Bob should have
botch.
kicked
And
out that soon.
well, it does make me think it was maybe not supposed to be the finish, or there was just some screw up, or maybe they were struggling for time, which is very, very possible.
Yeah,
I
maybe.
don't
Maybe they've
know,
gone
but I
over.
mean, it's a screw job as far as I
It
was
is.
concerned.
It is.
It's really a screw job, and everybody saw it, and everybody knows it. Um,
Yeah.
just bullshit. Um, I felt bad for Bob Holly, not so much because I thought he was going to go and do anything particularly in
No.
that year, but um, in terms of the match dynamic, he knows he's going to lose, so he's saying to himself, "Well, I'm actually on a pay per view for once," which is actually quite rare as
Yes.
well.
Yeah.
You don't
Yeah.
see him, you don't see him very much.
Other than his
So
great win in the Royal Rumble with the kid when he won the tag titles for a day, which we
yeah,
spoke
but
about before.
you won't see him much though. So he's, I
No.
mean,
No.
I respect what he did because he said, okay, um, they're going to have me lose to this fucking guy,
Maybe I'll put my
which
name
is
on
shit.
lights. Yeah, try and botch it. Give it.
No, no, I don't think that at all. I think he's just. I think he genuinely went out there to work his ass off and have the best possible match he could, and I've actually got a lot of respect for him watching it back. Um, he was really, really professional, and he put on a really good technical um, wrestling performance for me. I was impressed with him. Um, so he's trying to raise his own stock, and I think he does to a certain extent. But he's not going to get noticed by Vince, and he's not going to give a shit. So I've got some sympathy for him. I'm glad that his time eventually did come, but it took several years.
Yeah, yeah. It took until he became hardcore Holly in like '99 to 2000. But yeah,
Yeah, that's about all you can say about
yeah, yes, yeah. Although to be fair, he was a good company man. Um, so we'll move on to the next match, which was Shawn Michaels versus Karma. Um, Shawn Michaels had just turned babyface after being attacked by Sid after WrestleMania
and he's been
11
out.
and
He's been out of
been out
action.
for a
So
bit.
this is
Yeah,
his comeback. This is his kind of
yeah,
comeback. And
yeah,
I'll say this for him: it's interesting to see how he's changed. Is he's sporting a bit of a beard, which
yeah.
is one thing because he's obviously been through hell, and that's I thought
Obviously
that was
shaved. Yeah, yeah,
I
get
thought
that.
that was quite good. I quite like that. Whether that was intentional or they
Yeah,
were
yeah,
trying to make you think that, but I liked it. It was a nice touch.
yeah,
Um, and Sean, he's a completely different wrestler. So I remember at the time thinking there's a couple of things that I'm noticing here. Number one, Sean's a lot slower, and by that I
yeah,
mean he's selling way, 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 way more than he ever has as a heel. So from that point, I mean, he has his his bursts of quickness and sort of lightning speed, um, yeah, as he needs to for his spots. Um,
yeah,
but he's selling way more, so he's a very different. He's a completely different wrestler at this point to how he was as a heel. He's not the same guy
yeah,
in the ring. His mannerisms are slightly different, and it's only natural
yeah. He's a
that he
baby
would be
face
doing
again.
that. So
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, he was selling a lot, a hell of a lot to Karma. You were impressed with this match. I was less impressed with it, but it was more frustration, I think, watching
okay.
it back.
Uh,
Just that it's just a shit finish. Let's face
it
it,
is.
it's a stalemate. It goes to a draw
Yeah,
because the time limit expires, and it's just a shit way to
knock someone
I know,
out.
I know Sean's got to come back, but why are you doing that? He's out in the quarterfinals. It's
That's,
not great.
it reminded me much of
Um,
the Tatanka Lex Luger draw time limit draw in '93, where you had two like guys who were like pretty much had a good chemistry with each other, and then
no,
the time
I'm
limit
just thinking,
expires, and it's
yeah, fine. I'm just looking at that, thinking, what does that do for either of those guys? I'm not so much worried about Carmen, but even for Sean, I'm thinking, and
where does he go
he's
from there?
not my favorite. He was never my
No,
favorite person in
no,
the whole world,
no.
to say the least. Um, but I do think over the last year or two, however long we've been doing this, I don't even know now. Um, I'd like to think that I have actually quite consistently come out and said some nice things about him as well and appreciated
You
him
have, yeah,
in
yeah,
a lot
yeah.
of ways. I would like to say that or think that. Hopefully, that's the
I'm
case.
sure. I'm sure your
Um,
words back you up in the archives.
well, we'll see. But I just look at that. I remember at the time thinking, um, yeah, he's someone that
What a
could have
waste of a
easily won
talent.
that. Well, he could
Yeah,
have won that tournament. I'm not saying he
yeah,
should have, but he certainly could have.
yeah,
And for him to go out the way he did, I don't think he's particularly protected either, because ultimately you can say, oh, well, he didn't lose, and both guys are protected. But actually, if they don't go anywhere, um, they've both gone out in the quarterfinals, which is a pretty shit result. That's like, I'm used to watching England go out in the quarterfinals in football, and it
yes,
happens almost every time.
yeah,
Um, you'd expect it almost, but Sean, you think he's headlined WrestleMania. He wasn't ready to be champion at
yeah.
this point by quite a while. He really wasn't, and
No, 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 no.
I think it's really genuinely fair to say that at this point he's not quite good enough to be champion. His time will come and does come. He's not too far away, but he's not quite there yet. And what do you do? Where do you go from here? Really, it's a frustrating end, and there's a bit of a brawl after the bell, and
Yeah,
Sean gets his super kick in, sweet
yeah,
chin music, as Vince actually calls it that, the sweet chin music. So he knocks Karma out of the ring, like that's supposed to be some kind of moral victory that had the match actually continued, he would have done that anyway. So there's a bit of that
yeah,
going on. Um, what annoyed me about this was after he's cleared the ring, Sean's almost jumping up and down out of frustration, and he's pissed off, and that's completely right.
Yeah, yeah.
You would expect no less. Um, and then at a certain point, he just kind of settles down. He just thinks, "Well, what now, Sean?" And he just starts fucking posing in the middle of the ring. I'm just like, "Okay, you can't be that pissed off, then, can you? Really?"
No.
Do you know what I mean? Like, if you
Yeah, yeah.
genuinely that pissed, you'd just
You'd
carry
go.
on with that, wouldn't you? But
Yes, yeah.
I know
Or
you can
you'd
say, "Oh,
believe
well,
the
that's
ring.
just Sean and all the rest of it," but I just think, oh,
I think it probably just
he's
showed they didn't
he's not
really
that
want to,
bothered, is he?
didn't care about it winning the King of the Ring. So he was almost like saying, "Oh well, whatever. I'll just pose to the women out there and get my jollies off that way." Just
Yeah, I didn't think that was the right way to handle it, actually. I think he was onto
no.
something when he was showing how pissed off he was, because you could say, oh, actually, he's pretty edgy now, isn't he? Look at him.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And use that.
Yeah,
That's my way of thinking anyway. But um, yeah, I'm pretty old school. I think it felt very arbitrary that he would just drop
yeah.
his emotions about what had just happened and from being
That
pissed off
quickly.
and
Yeah,
disappointed and oh, just
yeah,
fucking lay down the middle of the ring and start posing, shall I?
yeah.
It's a little bit out of nowhere for me, but oh well. So
Oh,
I did get one Shawn Michaels
you
jibe in
did, you
tonight.
did. Yes, yes.
Um,
And then we move on to the final quarterfinal match, which saw Mabel with Mo against the Undertaker, who had Paul Bearer in his corner. And I mean, again, surely everyone's thinking the Undertaker's going to go over in this.
so
No,
hang
no,
on a minute.
no.
Don't forget the introductions here. So we've got a
Oh
hangover
yes,
from WrestleMania 11. I promised I'd mention a few.
right.
So, although it's not quite the same, but instead of interviewing people after they've lost and only after the loser has
Ah,
left the ring and
yes,
going down the
yeah,
aisle, we've got the opposite here. We've got Stephanie Wines interviewing, putting a microphone in people's face as they're walking down to the ringside area, down the aisle. And there's one thing I
yes,
want to say before I even mention what was said. Um, for me, it's completely out of order and a
yeah,
massive own goal to
right,
do something that fucking stupid in any circumstances. You don't interview wrestlers when they're coming down the aisle. When they're coming down the aisle, it's time for the music to play, fans to start shouting, the announcer to, introduce them, let them walk the aisle, strut their stuff, and pose. That's
yeah,
all they need to do. That's the game. That's all
yes,
there. Or if there's going to be a jump from behind or what have you, that's fine. That's whatever. That's a schmoz.
yeah,
Um, but
yes,
don't get someone, especially someone who's so new to the sort of business as well, coming down the aisle awkwardly and dressed like she should be in some corporate boardroom somewhere.
yeah, yeah.
I'm not saying she should have been dressed up like a lady wrestler or anything, but you know what I'm
No,
saying.
no, yeah, yeah,
Um, maybe a little bit more smart casual, perhaps. I don't know.
yeah,
Anyway,
yeah.
just get the microphone out of fucking Mabel's face. I mean, not that I've got anything particularly great to say about Mabel, but
No,
um, I don't. If you're going to interview him, do it before he walks out.
yeah,
Do it
yeah.
before.
Like they did with Savio. Yes.
Yeah, and add a little bit
Dear.
of bite to it
Well, I
because
think
then
they
he's psyched up.
doesn't she interview Savio after he beats Yokozuna? Pretty sure he interviewed Savio as well.
Yeah, well,
Well,
there's a couple more. We'll get to those, but no, there's no.
well, that's after the
It's
Rody
this
match,
no,
isn't it?
it's this. I think it's the semi-final, and then Doc Hendricks gets in there and he's trying to
Translate,
um,
yes.
translate, which is we'll come to that. It's quite funny.
Yes.
Um, but yeah, that
Yeah.
was strange. I thought that stood out at the time. Is like, why are you doing that now?
Yeah. It made
What
no
the fuck?
sense. They drop it
It's
pretty much
dumb.
after this pay-per-view, but yeah.
Honestly, it's we've got a touch side kind of field reporter in the
Pitch side,
NFL
yeah.
or whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I can see some of the players warming up here. Or I wonder if we can get a word with the assistant coach or the fourth official. Or
Yes. Yes,
it's
yeah.
that kind of stupidity
Yeah.
that's still feeding into this bullshit Bam Bam LT fucking fever that they've got, and they're just trying to repackage their own brand and their own sport. I mean, they completely failed to define their own product at WrestleMania 11, and they struggled. a lot. And I just think this was just a kind of fading afterthought from that kind of stupidity. WrestleMania. They don't do this from memory. They don't do this after King of the Ring anymore. Um,
They don't.
the other pay-per-views we've covered, I don't think they really get into it.
No.
Um, Big own goal, and I still don't think they were particularly self-aware of what they were doing and how bad
Oh,
it was,
absolutely not. They're like,
and
oh, it must have worked
failed
really well. Yes, keep it
failed
going.
to understand and connect with their own audience, and they wondered why much of that audience was pretty disillusioned, and in some cases had already walked away.
Yes, yeah,
So,
yeah.
but they'll get back to the promised land
They will.
eventually.
Yes, yes.
So
But
yeah,
here, the
Mabel comes
promised
down
land
to the
was
ring and
miles
he's
away.
facing the Undertaker, and
Yes,
yeah,
it's not a
well,
bad
no,
match, but I mean,
you go.
again, I mean, I was never a big Mabel and Mo fan, Men of the Mission, anyway. And I guess the Undertaker does his best with Mabel because Mabel he's a big man and he can do certain moves, but not as well as he used to be able to do them like the year before. And I don't know. I mean, I do feel sorry for the Undertaker. He's currently in a feud with the corporate ministry and well, not the corporate ministry, just
The Million Dollar Corporation.
that's the one. Yeah, corporate ministries comes in like '99. Christ, I've jumped 4 years ahead. He's in a feud with the Million Dollar Corporation. He's got a couple of like preachers of the night at ringside, and I completely forgot that Palmer gets involved in this match at the end. Sort of kicks the Undertaker in the head, and then Mabel does he
There's
squash
some
him? Does he
no,
sit on
look,
him?
there's no, there's the finish is really, really lame and shite because
Yes.
it's not credible finish at all. So Undertaker choke slams Mabel,
Yeah.
um, which isn't bad.
No.
Isn't bad.
No, it's a
I'll
cool
give
choke slam.
Taker some credit there. There's some pretty solid moments from Mabel, but at the same time, Taker's basically got him on the ropes towards the end. And
Hmm.
he's choke slammed, and you think he probably got him here.
Yeah.
No problem. Yeah, Karma comes in. All he does, he literally he gives him a single kick.
To the shoulder. Yeah.
Yeah, and then that's enough. There's been a referee bump.
Yeah.
So after a really puny single kick, which is completely implausible and not credible,
Yeah.
uh, and after what felt like forever, Mabel finally got up off his ass and drops his leg over the Taker and pins him,
Yeah.
and that's it. And it's just such a cheap, shoddy win
Win.
for
Yeah.
Mabel. You think, I mean, it's cheap heat in the sense that everyone thinks he's shit. Everyone
Yeah.
thinks he's unworthy.
Yes.
He's gone heel. His stock hasn't risen at all. It's probably gone even further down than it
Downhill.
was. At least
Yes.
there'd be some kind of demented fans that appreciated his bullshit rap.
Which, wow.
Um,
His
do you
WrestleMania
remember?
rap.
Do you remember Stan Lane in Gorilla Monsoon on Superstars or Challenge? Yeah, they'd be singing to they'd be going, oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah. They were
everyone would
hyping up
fall.
the
Yeah,
rap.
they'd be
Yeah.
into
Yeah.
it. But I was.
Yes.
Do you ever rap to that shit? I never did. I thought they
No.
were crap. I always thought they were
They
crap.
were. They were. Oh, don't forget Oscar was the rapper, wasn't he? So, but
The thing
he
is,
was the one. Mabel and Mo actually never rapped. It was Oscar who did the raps. So,
well, the thing is,
um,
the Bushwhackers were no more successful than Men on a Mission, but the Bushwhackers are legends compared to those two
yes, because they
because of
they
their
got themselves over.
longevity.
Yeah,
Yeah, and and they were just better in the ring
yeah.
without
They
being
had they
particularly
had more
great.
personality as well. They
Yeah,
had personality on interviews, on vignettes. I mean, I remember seeing a thing where Mean Gene did like this video with them, and he was like they were cooking barbecue with them, and it was like it's just like it was hilarious stuff, and Mean Gene just went along with it, and
the
it's just
funny
like
thing is with Bushwhackers, I just remember everyone that I used to talk to about wrestling. Pretty much everybody liked them.
yeah. Yeah, they never had any haters who were like, oh, I hate the Bushwhackers. Everyone's like, oh, the Bushwhackers are amazing. They're cool.
They
It's
were
like,
kind of
yeah,
they were kind of harmless,
Yeah,
benign,
a
thing really.
non-threatening.
They
Yeah,
weren't gonna they were never going to set the world on fire. They were just a bit of fun, a bit of entertainment, and they were appreciated, I think. And that's a nice thing to say about those guys.
yeah. Which is amazingly, if you knew about their career in the NWA or whatever it was before they went to the WWF, the sheep herders, they were violent, brutal bastards.
Yeah.
um, yeah, but I mean, the
So we've
Bushwhackers completely turned it
we've
away.
done the quarterfinals. We've done the quarterfinals now.
We have,
Um,
yes, yeah. There's only one semi-final match because remember, Mabel was already in the final because Sean and Palmer uh,
just remind me because I
got
only watched
timed
it
out.
last week.
Right,
Which is next? Which match is next? Is it the
it's the
semi?
semi-final next. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. That's Savio Vega against the Roadie. Jeff Jarrett's out, Razor's out, and yeah, semi-final. I don't remember much of this match to be honest with you. I know Savio won it. It wasn't it wasn't a short match. It wasn't a long
No.
match. It was a But I do remember Savio beat the Roadie, and then that's what came. Was it Carlos Cabrera, the Spanish commentator, came to interview? It's either Carlos or Hugo Savinovich. Went
Yeah,
to
it was
him,
those guys that
yeah,
so he's talking in Spanish, I
Spanish,
believe.
yeah,
And
and
Razor stood right there. Doc Hendricks comes out in his weird purple
I'm going
smoking
to
jacket.
translate. I'm going to translate.
I have
It's
no
like,
chance against Mabel. I'm going to
yeah,
try and stop stealing hubcaps.
yeah.
And I loved it. I thought it was hilarious.
Uh,
And then
and
he
Razor's right
turns
behind
around,
him.
Razor's right behind
Yeah,
him. Yeah.
yeah. And he's not, but Razor doesn't stop him saying this stuff either. It's quite funny. So,
No, but he smiles at him like
yeah,
I've caught you out.
yeah. But
If I
nothing really
wanted to,
comes
I
of
could
it.
kill you, but I'm not. He just doesn't do anything. Yeah, that would have been
No, no.
funnier.
Yes, yeah. If he chased him off or something, like something the King would have done would be like winding someone up so much that he gets chased off in the end. But yeah, it was a pretty funny thing he does.
This is one
Savio's in the
thing I will
final.
say. It's not a very good. In spite of everything I've said about Savio,
Yeah,
it does show, and he sells brilliantly that he's getting more and more fatigued. I think that came across in
yeah.
this match. Like he got over the line, and it wasn't like it was just by a whisker or anything, but
No,
you can see, he's selling that whole story
he's blagging. Yeah,
every time. You believe that it looks and feels like he's had his third match. You can see he's really, yeah,
yeah.
a
Blowed
few
up.
bruises here and
Yeah,
there, and he's starting to,
get
feel
some
this,
injuries, ribs and that.
and he's
Yeah,
won, and he's won it, and
yes,
he's actually quite emotional as well, which was a really lovely touch. I
yeah.
liked that because a lot of the wrestlers in the previous tournaments they didn't necessarily
Show any emotion.
have that kind of I really liked it about him. It was such a nice way to introduce him as well because you just again you very naturally get on board with it and you want him to do well. So
Yeah,
yeah,
100%.
he's doing a superb job. It was not a very good match in my opinion,
No,
but in terms of his story, selling where he is, what he's already done that night, yeah, he's telling that beautifully at this point.
yeah,
And he's got himself into the finals. He's won three matches. It's unbelievable what he's done.
yeah,
You considering Steve Austin only wrestled twice the following year to become king.
yeah,
I can remember at the time thinking the fact that they didn't have quarterfinals on the pay per view, I thought was just bullshit.
yeah. And they've
I
not
thought
done that for a long time. Yeah,
you've killed the whole. I thought '96 they killed the whole tournament. It was bullshit
yeah.
because whoever would have won it would have
Just wrestled
not had the
twice.
same
Yeah,
credibility.
yeah.
Bullshit.
Whereas
Um,
again, the whole Bret Hart thing of wrestling three times, winning the King of the Ring
you need more
was great.
workhorses. You need more
Yes.
technical wrestlers in there, people that can go. Um,
Yeah.
on the flip side to that, I know there's a lot of people that hate the tournament format, and there's reason to pull it back so that it's just semis and final. That's one thing, but have
Yeah.
a tournament or don't have it at all. Don't fucking bother. Don't try and
Yeah.
bastardize it and dilute it like that.
Yeah.
Um,
No. That
But
makes
yeah, there
sense.
we are. Those are the yeah. That's the only semi-final.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that's where we are. So
Yeah. So it's Vega against Mabel in the final. But before we get to the final, we've got the really hyped up match between the Hitman and Jerry Lawler. Kiss My Foot match for weeks, maybe even months. Jerry Lawler was talking about not washing his feet and having his sock with his holes in it on Raw and stuff like that.
well, let's
I
let's go
remember
back.
that.
Let's go back a bit further. So
Oh, okay.
in your house one. So Jerry Lawler's beaten the Hitman
Hmm.
by cheating.
With
Um,
Hakushi getting involved, yeah,
and on Raw, shortly after, Brett comes out and he confronts Jerry Lawler in this commentator's position. And
yeah,
it's actually, if you watch it back, Brett's quite bitter and twisted and very emotional. And he's trying to get right in Jerry Lawler's face. And he's basically screaming in his face for a rematch. And he basically hates his guts. And
yeah, yeah,
it's quite, it actually, it's almost attitude era stuff, actually, that confrontation. It's quite personal.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and I can remember at the time thinking, oh, that was actually pretty ugly. Um,
yes.
at the time, not that I had any sympathy for Jerry Lawler or anything, but
No, no, no,
um,
yeah,
yeah, Brett's. You think about it this time, yeah, Brett's halfway through '95. He's had one title shot at Royal Rumble. He's
yeah,
been fucking wasted for
yeah,
6 months,
yeah,
um, and he's getting bogged down in all this bullshit. And I've got sympathy for
yeah.
him. I know you say, um, it was memorable and it was this and that, and it was. Um,
It was just
but
the finish was
it's not
memorable at the
worthy.
end of it. No, no, it's not. It's not
It's
like a
not
great.
worthy of Brett.
It's
It
not a
really isn't
great
worthy of him.
match. It was just a hilarious outcome. That was all I thought was the best part of it.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's very God. It's not pantomime stuff, but it's just it's hard to find the right word. It's just it's not even juvenile. What is it? Um, fucking stupidity. That's what I'll call it.
Yeah, yeah, fair
Um,
enough.
it's just moronic. It's really moronic. It's
Yes,
a kiss my foot match. I mean, it's just it stinks of
Jerry Lawler.
the crybaby match that they had the next year.
Yeah,
With
God.
Kid and Razor. I mean, all these kind of fetish gimmick matches that I imagine Vince conceives of, because he thinks that that's what everybody wants to see.
Yeah,
Um, you know, the other thing as well, which I found not uncredible, I suppose, but the real feud between these two has already happened 2 years earlier, '93.
yeah,
So obviously, since all that was settled, and it was settled, um, Jerry's obviously never had a good thing to say about Brett on commentary, and that's only to be expected. It's natural. Um, the fact that he starts feuding with Brett again, I'm kind of thinking, shit, we've done this,
yeah,
and it's gone off the boil for nearly 2 years.
yeah.
Why would you bring what? Why are we going here again? You know, it's not going
Well, I
to
mean, then,
the outcome's not going to be any real different to the last time.
no,
And it's just
it's,
another way. It's in the same way Undertaker was being fed to the $1 million corporation. This is another way. It's like, okay, well, I'm not going to fire Brett in case I
yeah,
need him again one day. He's not going to be my champion. I'm going to keep him as far away from that scene as I can. So I just have
yeah,
to find some bullshit for him to get on with in the meantime. He's not. This isn't going to elevate Brett. It's not going to get him back into the title picture by beating Jerry Lawler. No way. Um, But
no,
it's enjoyable. It's enjoyable in the sense that it was so massively promoted, and all the skits from
yeah,
Jerry Lawler are hilarious.
yes,
They've gone to a lot of effort.
yeah,
Um, I do remember enjoying it to a certain extent
right,
um, at the time, um, but at the same time, it was just like, oh, fuck. I remember thinking like, oh, there's got to be something more than this. Um,
yeah,
It was, yeah, it was entertaining. I think a lot of people got into it. The ironic thing is, for me, the biggest pop on the whole night
yeah,
is arguably Bret Hart's entrance.
yes, yeah, yeah,
When
yeah,
he comes down,
massive,
he gets an absolutely enormous pop
yeah,
when he comes
yeah,
down, and
yeah,
even just the way. Vince is on commentary. He's very into the. I'll say this for him in this match. He's very into the match, and
Yeah,
he is actually putting Brett over quite a bit in this match as well, particularly at the end. And it felt like not that it was the main event, but it certainly felt like it had the most kind of emotional um,
point
stakes
to it. The
involved.
stakes.
Because
Yeah,
there were a lot of stakes. It felt, they were almost pitching it like, this could be the end of Bret Hart here because he'll
yeah.
never live it
It's
down.
especially lost. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, and there's jeopardy, and that's good.
Yes,
And there's genuine heat as well. As
yes,
for,
yeah,
as for the actual match, so you're right. You mentioned it before. Jerry Lawler's like refused to wash his feet, and he's been walking around in pigsties and God knows what. And
yes. His
there's
socks
a
have got
bit
holes in them. Yeah,
there's a bit earlier in the evening. I don't know if you remember it, but the cameras find Jerry Lawler in the locker room, and
yeah,
it
yeah,
stinks, and he's got
yeah.
I don't know what he's spraying
But
stuff
odor
around,
thing.
and he's got
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
deodorizer or whatever the hell it is,
Yes, yeah,
and even Jerry Lawler's gagging at
yeah,
that
yes.
point. So
Get out of here.
it is funny. I'm not going to deny it wasn't funny. Although the
Yes,
best is obviously yet to come. But um,
yeah,
as for the match, all I'll say. I'm certainly not going to go through it play by play, but all I'll say for it is that I thought Brett was flat on his back for far too much of the match, and
yeah,
he was overselling how good Jerry Lawler was actually, and I thought that was a bit of a mistake. I understand that they want to tease that he's on the ropes, he really could lose this. This is bad,
yeah.
but at the same time, I didn't think it was credible that Jerry Lawler could put Brett in that kind of a compromised position as often or for as long
But
as he did in that match.
didn't they do that at SummerSlam '93 as well? Though I mean, I know Brett beat Jerry Lawler up once he got in the ring, but then Lawler took over, and Brett was down for quite some
No,
time in the
it
SummerSlam
never
'93
lasted
match.
long. It never lasted long.
No,
I just thought he seemed to be down and out for quite a lot of the match, like he was facing Diesel or somebody else almost. I just thought he oversold it a
well,
little bit. But I understand why, because obviously it's a special stipulation. And, if it looks like he might actually lose, then there's some tension there, and everyone
yeah,
buys into it and leans in just a little bit more.
yes,
Um,
exactly.
so Hakushi comes down with Shinja, and
Yes, yeah,
they interfere, and there's some bullshit going on, and it all kind of backfires in the end, and ultimately Brett slaps on the sharpshooter right in the middle of the ring, and Vince is going absolutely berserk, and he's besides himself at this point. He's like, nothing will
yeah,
stop Bret Hart now.
yes,
And I don't know if you picked up on it. I did even at the time, but as soon as he flips him over and he's in the sharpshooter, the camera pans out
yes,
completely quite a long way from the ring, and the ref just rings the bell, and the official says, "Well, here's your winner by submission."
yes, yeah.
It just made me think, why
You
would
never
they
get
do
to
that?
see it. Yeah, it was a
Why would
weird.
they? Did Jerry not want to be seen to be given up on TV or something? I don't know. It's a strange call that.
Yeah,
Um,
maybe. Yeah, it was a weird one. You never
anyway,
really see
so
him say
they hit
yes.
the music. They hit the music. Brett's won, and then
Brett refuses to release the
it's
hold.
announced. Yeah, for a little while. Yeah, that's right.
Like teasing
Um,
SummerSlam '93
Deja vu.
finish.
Yeah,
But
I know.
yeah,
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 yeah.
right.
He
Deja
does
vu.
eventually give it up. He gets close to a 5 count and he breaks on 4, I think.
Yeah, even
Um,
Vince is like, "Whoa, that could have
yeah,
been a disqualification." That was
yes,
close. Phew.
yes, yeah,
Um, and then the announcement's made. Jerry Lawler's now got to kiss Brett's foot, which he does. Although he doesn't really kiss it, he just kind of sticks his foot in his big toes in his mouth.
but
Um,
Hakushi comes back, doesn't he?
oh yeah,
They
that's right.
try
There's
to
a
they
second.
try
They
to
try
get
and
Brett
save him.
again, and
He
it
misses.
doesn't. Yeah, yeah, he gets Jerry instead, and Brett gets
Yeah,
rid of
just
them
kind
both.
of launches himself off the top rope, kind of shoulder charges, but Brett gets out of the way and hits
Yeah,
Lawler, and he goes flying. And yeah, Brett clotheslines Hakushi. He must have done like a 360 3 or 4 times,
yes,
and he came out of the ring,
yes,
and that was
yeah,
the end of him. Um, and then it's not actually stipulated at all, but Brett makes Jerry kiss his own foot, his rotten, stinking foot. And
yes,
I'll
yeah,
say this to Jerry. At this point, the music's playing and the crowd are loving it as well. They're really happy.
yeah.
Um, I remember I was pleased too. I was happy with it. But at the
I,
same
I
time,
liked that bit more
looking
when he made
back,
him kiss Jerry's foot himself, and he sold it. He sold it. He was going to throw
oh
up and stuff. It
yeah,
was
well that's right.
hilarious.
He's so good. He honestly, Jerry Lawler is so good doing that because you absolutely he's sweating profusely as well.
Yeah,
Um,
yes,
and he just looks a real mess. And he looks like me
yeah,
on a night out from years gone by. Just couldn't handle a
yes,
drink. Um,
yes.
it didn't take a lot either.
No,
Um, and he's brilliant. He's absolutely brilliant. And there's a bit where he kind of stops halfway down the aisle, and he
yeah,
just kind of pans and he scans the crowd, and you can just see the humiliation and the anger on his face. And you
yes.
know, but he just he
Sees him
looks like he
throwing
wants
up
to
all the way
vomit.
down the aisle. Yeah,
Yeah, he's kind of he's spitting as well.
yeah,
He's
yes,
on his knees in the ring, and he's just kind of spitting outside of the ring. And yeah, he looks like a pretty sick puppy, doesn't he?
yes, yeah. They do a backstage vignette after the King of the Ring final, which we'll talk about, which is hilarious. I just remember
Yeah,
that.
we'll come back to that one because it's fun
Yeah,
to circle back.
but I
So
mean,
yeah,
this.
that was a big pop, and Brett's won his match. But again, where's he going to go from here? Nowhere.
He's going to go to SummerSlam '95 against Jerry Lawler's personal dentist.
Yeah, but
That's
that
where
doesn't
he's going
happen
from
straight
here.
away. That
No,
doesn't
but
happen straight
it's
away.
part of the feud set up for SummerSlam '95. Damn it! It's so
Yeah, but
oh
he's
god.
not on the card at In Your House too.
No, no. I mean, to be fair, Brett has the feud with a jacket about a jacket. We'll get to that in
Yeah,
another
that's months
episode.
away.
But yeah,
That's months away. Yeah,
yeah,
that's
that's
another
true.
bit of bullshit and cannon fodder. Um,
Yes,
you've got such a top guy, and he was wasted for most of '95 until he started getting back in the title picture again. He was just
yeah.
he had the occasional damn good match, but it's just a shame, really. But there you go.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we're here. We're finally here. It's the match we've all been waiting for all night. It's the King of the Ring final. It's the mighty Mabel against the underdog Savio Vega, who's wrestling in his fourth match of the night, while Mabel wrestles in his second. And yeah, um, Mo and yeah, he's in the corner of Mabel, and
Well, that's right.
Razor's still there with Savio, and
I
yeah,
think it's
Savio
fair
Vega
to say,
almost wins. He does almost win. He does hit the move that beat IRS at the beginning, but I think Mabel kicks out. Um,
yeah, and the roadie, I believe, if I might be wrong, but I think he
he
does
did beat
the same
Moroni with
move.
that. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, I think it's fair to say that Savio literally throws every last thing he's got at him, and he comes damn close.
Yes,
Um,
but
yeah,
Mabel squashes him really.
well, that's right. Savio is actually doing really well, and then he gets caught. He's thrown off the ropes, and Mabel catches him, and he just kind of um,
Squashes
splashes
him.
him,
Yeah.
really, and then he kicks out. Savio kicks
Yes.
out, and then you think, wow, okay, he's still in it, and then eventually, um, and there's by the way, there's some really solid chops as well. Savio gives Mabel a couple of times slaps, and all the
Yeah.
sweat just kind of flies off fucking Mabel. Um, yeah, I thought it was an all right final, in the sense of the story isn't about Mabel, it's about Savio running more and more out of steam, really, and he just can't quite make it this time. And it's
Yeah.
basically he loses clean. I think that's fair to say as
He
well,
does lose clean. Yeah, yeah.
which I must admit I thought was a mistake. I think they should have screwed him, because it just would have made you even more sympathetic. I mean, he's probably been hard done by enough anyway, just for the fact that he's in his fourth match and he shouldn't be in his fourth match. So he's already
Yeah.
protected. But I would have had Mo um, do something.
Distract him and have
Yeah,
Mabel
or
do it
just
that way.
hit
Yeah.
scare shot or something. I would have had him do something. But um,
Yeah.
yeah, so Mabel then, after he's splashed, Savio only narrowly kicks out. You can see he's only got a flicker of life left in him, only just enough to kick out. So Mabel decides to finish him off. He comes off the ropes and he just splashes him. And
Yes.
yeah, Soviet just can't do
Can't
it,
kick out.
and he
Yeah.
loses. And it's pretty gutting actually because you
Yeah.
kind of saw it
Yeah.
coming. And there's a pretty famous bit earlier in the evening when Shawn Michaels, when he comes down to the ring, decides to wander off to where the throne is, and he picks up the crown, and you can see it's obviously designed for someone with an enormous head. And apparently,
Yeah.
um, I believe that was cut from the old network.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
So they
I'm
didn't
not
want to
sure
show
if it
that
was
bit.
on the P. I'm not sure if it was on the VHS.
I think it
Um,
was. I remember seeing it on. So I don't know. I don't. I think one of us had a
well,
copy of
anyway,
it, and
not
it was
me.
on there. No, but it's like it was me, stupidly, because I was like, I don't believe you. It can't have been that bad. I remember buying it, thinking, oh my god, it's worse.
So then they start taking liberties, and Razor has to come in because they're beating on
Well,
Savio.
Razor comes in to check on him straight after the pin, and Mo sort of says to Mabel, "Let's beat up Razor," which is what they do.
He's just putting a
Savio,
bad mouth on him, and anyway,
yeah,
the kid comes
Razor
down to
punches him
help.
a few
All
times. Oh,
three, all
yeah,
three get the shit
beaten
kicked
up.
out of them, and they're all just
Yes,
left
yes.
beat down the left lane, and then Mabel and Mo fuck off to get the
The
coronation underway.
coronation.
Now let's just talk
Yeah,
about the coronation, and all the while, those guys get to slowly recover and get kind of scooped out of the ring. Um, it was the
towards the end of the
longest and most
coronation.
painful coronation I've ever seen. It was awful. Um,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mo
It was
clearly
great.
can't read. He clearly couldn't read.
No,
Um, let's face it. Even Doc Hendricks is a heel commentator, and even he's forced to take the piss out of him at one point. Um,
yeah,
the longest fucking pauses. It's like it was honestly like he was struggling to read.
yeah. It was painful. It was
It
painful.
was it was a real embarrassment,
You almost
actually.
hope the three guys got up and came in and wiped the floor of them because I mean they were threatening it
Well,
towards the
let's
end of
get
the
to that. Let's
coronation.
get to that. But
Yeah,
someone throws a drink at Mabel when he's sat on his fucking throne, and it lands, and you actually hear
yeah,
quite a reaction because everybody's laughing.
yes,
They got it, and
yes,
Mabel does actually react to it and sell it, which made it all the worse. Um, oh
yeah,
God, it was just so awful. He was a
yes,
shit king. Um,
yeah.
although I will say this for him, he actually carried the gimmick for the rest of that year quite well
He did.
in
Yes,
terms of his
yeah,
identity as a character. Yeah, he's King Mabel. He's the king. I'm the king.
yeah, yes,
I will say that for him. He carries the gimmick well.
yeah. But that's
But
about
it's
it.
no more than that. Yeah,
No,
it's no more than that. And look, yeah, you alluded to it. The guys eventually scrape themselves up and they're trying to get to they come back down the aisle to where the coronation platform is. They're trying to get to him and all the officials run out. They can't get near them, and the Mo and Mabel are taunting them, and you're thinking, okay, well, there's going to be some retribution here at some point down the line, maybe the next pay per view, which there is a match which we've covered before.
yeah,
Um, I mean, it's just a shame, Ray's he's got bad ribs and kids out. I will say this, I don't know if you spotted it, but right before, because the officials are kind of pushing them and ushering them to the backstage area, there is a
yeah,
point on the far left of all that melee where the kid, he's being sort of restrained, but the official's not doing a very good job. And clearly, if you can see, if he wants to, the kid can actually break free and
yeah, yeah,
charge them if he wants to. And
yeah.
he just kind of softens his stance, and
Yes, yeah, yeah,
he's almost more complaining at certain points. Like, well, you clearly you could break through here. You could do something about this if you want to, and he doesn't.
yes,
Which is kind of bullshit. Razor and Soviet do a much better job of looking genuinely pissed, and
yes,
um,
yeah.
but they're hurt, and that it's harder for them to break through
Savio's
all these
wrestled four
officials.
matches. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
He's
and you got
he's
to
a bit.
feel sorry. Um,
Yeah, yeah, you do.
I'll tell you another reason I feel sorry for Razor is he's been screwed over at two King of the Ring tournaments in a row.
Yes, yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and yeah, he was desperately unlucky in '94.
yeah,
Um, I know it's obviously it's wrestling,
yeah.
but
It is.
there's a part of me that really wanted to know if Jim Neidhart hadn't interfered like he did in '94, what would have actually happened? How would that have played out with Owen Hart?
Yeah.
Um, and we never get to know.
No, we
Yeah,
don't.
that's like one of those kind of. Well, maybe they can have the rematch in heaven.
Maybe,
Those two. Well, all three of
but
them. They can
all
be
three, yeah,
involved.
three of them can recreate it. But here's a bit of trivia for you. the two guys opening the doors of the King of the Ring for the competitors coming
I
down.
know.
Did you
I know
know
what
who
you're going
they
to say.
were? Yeah. Okay.
Wrestling.
Yeah.
Wrestling.
They were the Hardy Boys. Matt and Jeff Hardy were the
Yeah, that
guys
sounds right.
opening the door. Guys opening the door. They were extras in the pay per view. So fair play to Matt and Jeff, who didn't really come onto the scene. Well, they were there. They were there in '94. I think Jeff Hardy wrestled Razor a few times in on Raw, but they didn't really come onto the scene until like 97, 98, 98 probably more so. But yeah, the Hardys were there. So yes, King Mabel was crowned, and we move on to the main event, which was a tag match with Diesel and his newly found friend Bam Bam Bigelow taking on Tatanka and Psycho Sid. And I mean,
Diesel and Bam Bam, two dudes with attitude.
yeah, yes. I mean, Bam Bam. I always liked Bam Bam. He was one of the best big men out there.
Yeah,
Um,
same. Let's
Diesel
let's
was
just
still
let's just
over.
do this. Let's just get
Yeah,
on with this and just unpack it and just say it for what it is. So
I mean, I won't.
Diesel's
I'm not going to lie. I did fast forward through this match to the end because it was. I remember watching it the first time, thinking how boring this match is. But anyway, sorry, carry on.
well, look, I mean, Diesel's still got his bad elbow, and there's
Yeah,
various
had elbow
interviews.
surgery. Yeah,
Yeah, and yeah, it's questionable whether he should be in the ring and all this shit. All I would say
yeah,
is they do a couple of promos
yeah,
backstage. There's Diesel and Bam Bam, and then you've got Sid, Tatanka, and Million Dollar Man. All of the
yeah,
promos, it's like both of them just decided to read a book of quotes
yeah.
and just
On the back
throw
of the
out a whole
cereal
bunch of
packet. Yeah,
arbitrary, random shit. There were
yeah,
generic promos. They were
yeah,
shite. They had absolutely fuck all going for them. It was a
yeah.
stupid match that should never have been anywhere near the main event. I don't care if Diesel's champion. Um,
No,
the match itself, um, yeah, the story was basically let's see if we can isolate Diesel and work on his elbow.
yeah,
And Diesel's, you know, he's lame, he's immobile. Um, his yeah, he's right in the peak of his floundering really at this time.
yeah, yeah,
But what chance has he got being booked like that? Absolutely no chance. Um, and it comes down to Tatanka's someone that has no business near a main event. Um,
no.
he
Especially
had
as a heel.
potential
Well,
as
as
a
a
heel,
face, he had a
definitely.
potential. As a
He had
heel, he should be
potential.
nowhere near it.
Yeah, absolutely. And
And Sid in
Sid.
'95 was terrible. I mean, as much as I appreciated Sid and how much of a monster he was in '96, '97, '95 Sid was terrible, in my opinion. It's, I mean, his stuff in WCW was okay, and they pushed him as a monster. But in '95,
Um,
I just thought this was his
I mean,
worst
my
year.
my only complaints about Sid were by and large that he just couldn't do it in the ring to the higher
Yeah,
sort of level. Don't think he was
and
as good as a lot of his contemporaries in the top spots.
yeah, and
Um,
this year showcased that as well. He didn't work very well in this year. His selling
no,
was terrible. His selling was terrible in this year.
but
He got
it
slightly
comes
better.
down to a finish where Tatanka is basically beaten down and fairly easily overcome by Diesel.
Yeah.
Bam Bam, it's hot tag here and there. It's just got the crowd's not into it at all. You can actually see them really switching off. Yeah, it's not
Hmm.
very vocal in that match.
No.
Um, and Diesel's basically he's got a pin. He's got Tatanka beat. There's a jackknife,
Yeah.
and he just doesn't want to. He starts counting the
He picks
referee
him up.
one,
Yeah.
two, and then picks him up because he points at Sid. I want Sid, and then
Yeah.
Sid just walks out.
Takes a hike.
Um,
Yeah.
and so Diesel just pins Tatanka, and that's it. They've won a tag match. Great. Now what?
Yeah.
Um, the
Amazing.
crowd are fucking livid as well. Did
Yes,
you did you see how much shit was being thrown at Sid as he walked out?
I did. Yeah. Yeah. I saw that. He was laughing as it was
That's
being thrown at him. Yes.
Yeah, I know,
It's a
I know.
weirdly booked main event. Very
You don't
weirdly
end
booked.
the night like that.
No,
You can't do that because people have already had a shit night. I mean, you can say
just
basically the
seen Mabel
highlight of the
become
night
king of the ring.
is the kiss my foot match.
Exactly. Oh, it's terrible.
Let's just
Absolutely
a
terrible.
quick
And
word
this
for
just,
Jerry. So the camera, we
oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
skipped over it. So
Right
there's a
before this
camera that
match,
follows him to the
toilet,
gents'
yeah,
toilets, and
yeah,
he's
cleaning
trying
his
to
teeth and being
brush his
sick,
teeth and he
throwing up.
vomits into the sink and over the mirror. And I'm like, oh my god, I've seen all
Did
this
he just eat
before. And
tooth? Did he just eat toothpaste? He's like, yeah, he did. He's swallowing mouthwash. He's just like, yeah,
yeah, and he's
he's
screaming
selling
at the
it as
camera to
true.
get out of there. It
Get
is
out of
funny.
there.
It is
Yes,
really
yeah,
funny.
yeah.
And from that
But
point of view, from what I said about Jerry Lawler and all the rest earlier on, but I'll never deny he was such a massive personality and a big entertainer. He always was,
he was,
and
yeah,
he doesn't let down. I mean, he's still performing after the match. He's still doing this
yeah,
shit,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and
Most
it's great.
people have
He's
gone
selling
home.
the whole thing. He's
Yeah,
brilliant.
yes, yeah. It was great stuff.
But that's the
But yeah,
main event finished.
unfortunately, the main event was terrible. It summed up the entire night. And yeah, I never want to watch this pay per view ever again.
So
It
I
was just,
actually think the biggest problem with it is that there's twofold. It's um, what you're going to do with Mabel that isn't just
yeah,
arbitrary because he goes on to meet Diesel at SummerSlam,
yeah,
and that's the end of that.
yeah. He
Um,
pretty much, doesn't he hurt Diesel in that match as well? It's like,
yeah, he does. Well,
I'm
that's
pretty sure
probably a
he
story
injured
for another
Diesel.
day.
Yeah, yeah, no, I
Um,
know. Just he was quite
yes, he
injury
does.
prone. So
Yeah, he does. So yeah, you've got that problem, and also with Diesel as well. This tag match. It's only to set up another fucking match against Sid
yes,
in your
yeah,
house
in your
too,
house
and
too,
we've already
which we
seen it.
covered. Yeah, but it's a lumberjack match this time because
Yeah, it's a
they don't
lumberjack
want him
match,
running away from the ring.
but it's gone on for 3 months at this point. It's too long, and that's why
Yeah,
it was such a fucking stinker. Was that Sid wasn't someone you'd want to hang around the main event scene for very long.
no,
Instead, they do it for 3 whole months, and
yeah,
I think people just generally thought it was shit.
yeah,
Just wasn't good
100%.
enough, really.
Two big men who couldn't really. I mean, Diesel could work, but couldn't really get the best out of Sid like Sean could in his match in the '96 Survivor Series.
Yeah, although
It was the wrong
he,
opponent for each
he
other, I
doesn't
think.
have a great. I didn't think it was the best match at Royal Rumble when he won the title back off him. It
No,
was
no, that wasn't the best.
different, but
Yeah,
uh, yeah, it was just like I said. I think the tournament it suffered a lot from the selections of those involved, and it didn't have any direction this year. I think it is the one King of the Ring up to this point that just had absolutely no meaning in terms of um,
agreed.
Mabel winning it doesn't really elevate him
No,
particularly. Um, it's arbitrary. It's a forced push out
yeah,
of nowhere just to give you know a main event for SummerSlam, but it just comes
just give
so
Diesel a monster to
forced.
beat. But yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it's slightly arbitrary. Um,
yeah.
and he's not over. He's just not over as a heel enough for me. I mean,
No,
he's disliked. Don't get me wrong, but
yeah.
um, he didn't have the credibility or the tools
He's
um,
not like
to
Yokozuna
hold
was
that
when he.
spot. No,
Yeah.
no. You believed in Yokozuna because he looked and acted like a real fucking badass.
Yes.
Mabel was just an uncoordinated mess, um,
Yes.
and
He
he
was a
just
comedy character that they tried to turn like gangster, if that's the right term. And like you said, he wore the king for the year, and he did, wore the moniker for a year, and he made the boast out of that. But he just wasn't a great performer or
yeah. You remember that
believable.
he'd have bearers carrying him on his throne
Yuck.
high
Yeah.
above the
Yeah.
crowd
Struggling,
from there on.
struggling to carry him. Yeah.
That side of it was quite good, I
Yeah.
suppose. As I said, he wore the gimmick very well.
He named Mo Sir Mo, so
Yeah,
yeah,
but
but
at
Mo
the
didn't
same
really
time,
do a
did you
lot.
take it serious? Oh, you
No,
can't
absolutely not.
can't take it serious.
No. So, but yeah. I mean, I've got nothing else to say about King of the Ring '95, so I'm not sure about yourself, but oh,
No,
we-
not really. I've
we've covered it now.
highlighted what
Thank
I
God
thought
for
the
that.
issues were.
Yes, yeah, no, fair play. I totally agree with what you're
And
saying on that. So
tried to tried to be positive on some of the um, better parts, but I think it was misdirection and missed opportunity.
yeah, I
Again,
mean, yeah. If I was fancy booking, I would have had Savio win it no matter what. But hey, that's just my opinion. But you still could have had Mabel be the opponent of Diesel at SummerSlam, but just Savio Vega could have been the king. Where do you go from there? Who knows?
when you think about it, 95 in terms of Mabel winning, it's a throwaway year in the sense of the winner didn't go on to achieve anything. You could
No,
say that because it's fair and it's accurate. Um,
yeah,
so if you're going to do that, same thing, give it to Sobio
exactly.
or give it to Sean.
Oh, yeah, Sean or Savio, either of
Because
them,
at
all the
least
under.
he would have ultimately gone on to do something with it. And it's
Yeah,
another
yeah,
feather in his cap kind of thing because he's not won King of the Ring before and all the rest. And he's a wrestler
absolutely.
as well. He's a top wrestler, and it's a tournament that had been won by top wrestlers up to that point.
Right. Yes, exactly. I agree. Right. The next episode, we're going to talk about In Your House Free. So, yeah, we'll catch you on the next episode, guys.